Good morning, YouTube. So it's a bright early day today. It is 2:22 a.m. So I've been up at 2 a.m. Obviously, this is much earlier than normal, but I've got a massive day today. And to get my workout in, my cardio and my steps, I need to get up pretty fucking early to get it done. I've got some exciting projects that are happening today, including my first guest appearance on a podcast, which I'm really looking forward to, so stay tuned for that. I am talking quite loudly right now because I am home alone. Now I know what Kevin McAllister felt like. Home Alone reference? Anybody? No? If you are a millennial, I guess, go back and watch Home Alone because they are arguably one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. So what I'm going to do right now, I am going to drink my little pre-workout concoction. Now I don't usually take pre-workout, but I am officially, oh God, I can't remember how many days out from photo shoot. I'm very close to my photo shoot anyway. My brain fog is kicking in massively right now, but I'm very close to my photo shoot, so I'm basically doing everything that I possibly can to get a good workout in. So I'm just about to go do that, and I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. Hell yeah, I just found the perfect little balancing spot for the camera, which is great. How about my thongs, everyone? Like it? Of course, I'm going to be a pink thong wearer. So just on the way down to Sydney to shoot this podcast today. So I've got my coffee right here. I need to slow down, obviously, because there's police and stuff around. There's one right here. So on the way down to Sydney, shoot this podcast, super excited for it. It is with an old friend of mine who I'm going to introduce to you. And this podcast is something that I've been wanting to do because I think that being able to share ideas and share values and beliefs with other people is one of the most important things we can do in life in general, because it allows us to be able to come together and connect in a much deeper way, but also it allows us to give more value to people such as you guys who are watching this video. Sorry, it's a little bit dark, but it also allows us to be able to help as many people as possible, whether that's people on my podcast or other people on other podcasts. So I've got about another 40 minutes or so of driving, so I'm not going to bore you and let you watch me drive unless you want to, but that's kind of weird. Get a life, in all honesty. But yeah, in 40 minutes or so I'm going to check back in with you guys. So just arrived, pretty sure this is the place, so we're going to go head on in and see who our guest is today, or who I'm the guest on today. Wrong floor. Mr. John Kogan, here we are. How am I? All right?
Good, brother.
How's things?
Good.
That's good.
Oh,
So here's our and everything. Here's our guest. We're just about to go set up and jump to this podcast, so we'll check in with you soon.
Welcome to today's episode. Today we have a special guest, a friend of mine I've known for approximately 10 years now.
Yeah.
10 years. He is a personal trainer by profession, so he's an expert personal trainer. You can tell by his physique, and also an aspiring actor. His name is Abbey Khan, and he might be related to Genghis Khan. Are you related?
I hope so. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit tied in there. I reckon so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, you are a bit gangster.
Sometimes.
Why don't we start by giving everyone a bit of a history, the backstory of who is Abbey Khan, Just a short story on that. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so originally from the UK, grew up there, moved over to Australia when I was 19. My background profession was professional rugby league. I was a professional rugby league athlete in the UK for about 3 years. Then coming out to Australia for a gap year
to play footy against the Aussies. For me, you guys were much stronger, much better, much faster. I was like, okay, I need to test myself. I need to test myself against you guys if I want to be great. But in that year, is a weird transition because my dream was always to play professional footy. Had a professional contract there ready on the table, but then basically I fell in love with the culture, with the people, and decided to stay an extra year over here. Met my girlfriend within that time. She forced me to stay, and I sort of filtered out of the love for footy a little bit. I had shoulder surgery, things like that, which lost a little bit of the passion. But then also at that time found the passion for acting as well. So that's the sort of industry that I'm looking to push into. But throughout that, obviously that fitness journey, I did my personal training course at 17. It was great because I got exposed to not just Gen Pop, but also professional athletes as well. So that really sort of, I guess, gave me a really good start. And then obviously transitioned into Australia, which I think Australia are very, very good because you guys invest a lot into your education relative to like the UK, for example. Not that all the UK is bad, but I think there's just a bigger consensus of people actually giving more of a shit about their education in Australia. So you guys put a lot more money into it, which was great because I got to work with people like Charles Poliquin, who passed away sadly a year or so ago as the legendary strength and conditioning coach, and he basically sort of, I guess, cultivated this incredible sort of results-based industry, strength and conditioning industry that we have today. And I got to work with some really, really cool people throughout my journey here in Australia. And right now, personal training and acting.
Nice. So you started off with professional rugby.
Yeah.
I remember you told me that a long time ago, but yeah, it's just flashed back to me now. So tell me more about that. What was it like, training at a professional level?
Yeah, so it was amazing. I signed professionally at 16, so just started leaving high school, signed professionally, part-time professional at the time. And it was incredible because it was, I mean, like sort of anything that when you've got that passion and that purpose, like I lived and breathed it. Like every second of the day was training, was thinking about food, nutrition, was thinking about what can I do to optimize recovery, what can I do to optimize performance, how do I be better? And I remember like even over the Christmas break, like generally you'd have like pre-season sort of take a little bit of a break around Christmas, it'd kick back in around February sort of time, January, February, but over that time I just wouldn't stop. I went, no, I want to be ahead of everybody else. So it was really cool to be able to wake up with such a passion and a purpose that regardless of injuries, regardless of time, it didn't matter because all I wanted to do is be the best rugby league player in the world. That was it at the time.
And as you know, like a lot of the people that listen to this podcast or watch it, they around mindset and personal development have interests. So for you as a young guy looking to develop himself as a professional athlete, what did you find were motivating factors or ways to keep you getting out of bed to drive towards it? What things like in personal growth field did you find helped you in that stage of your life? Yeah,
so I wasn't ever, I guess, talented like at all. Like if you saw me as a footy player relative to the other people in the squad, like there was zero. Like I wasn't fast, I wasn't overly strong, I wasn't overly skillful or anything like that. So I knew in myself, the only thing I have is I have to work harder than everybody else. So I remember for around 2 years in the back end of high school, sort of from like started when I was just turning 15 to around that 16 when I played professionally, was I would get up every single morning before school, 5 a.m. and I would run. So, okay, cool. I'm running in the morning, then obviously school throughout the day. And then as soon as we finished, it was either hitting the gym or going training. And I basically did that for almost every day for around 2 years. And it was just that level of commitment where I was like, I know that I'm not the best, but talent's going to be, hard work's going to beat talent. And that's what I had in my head. I was just, hard work is going to beat talent every single time. And then I actually heard that same quote, put in a better way, by Sir Alex Ferguson, the Man United coach at the time. And I was like, yes, that resonated with me. So in terms of like that
hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's exactly it. So I just knew that I just had to work harder than everyone. So even over that Christmas break, I just wouldn't stop. I was like, okay, I need to be better. I need to be better. So that when pre-season came, people had a little bit of a break, bit of a lag, which happens at all elite levels, which is cool because you need that recovery. But I knew that if I did that, I would be so far behind everybody else. So I just didn't stop. And when it got to pre-season, I was already there running.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. A couple of things come to mind there. So there's work ethic. You just worked I think on the other side of that as well, you had a certain level of self-awareness around yourself. You're like, okay, I'm not the best at X, Y, Z. I'm going to have to work my face off.
Yeah.
So I mean, because not everyone has that. You know, a lot of human beings. What led you to be able to know? Okay, I don't have the natural skills like potentially other people do, so I'm going to have to work my ass off to get there. How did you come to that conclusion? Did you have good environmental factors like parenting or friendships, or were you naturally born with a level of self-awareness?
Yeah, I don't think I was naturally born with, but in terms of like parenting, like if I thought I worked hard, like my dad is the hardest working person. Like I know, like it's crazy. Not, not extremely educated or knowledgeable on anything, but like in terms of like working hard, like I've never met somebody that'll go as hard as he possibly can. But that also comes from not just him, but I grew up in a big family household of around 13, 14 people.
What?
Yeah, I know, crazy. So
How many brothers and sisters you have?
So three brothers, a couple have passed away throughout the years, but three brothers, but also those cousins that live with us, auntie, uncle, grandfather, grandmother, other uncle as well.
Yeah.
So all in all, I'm pretty sure it's 13.
Oh wow.
All up. But all of those that would work hard. Like,
Yeah.
again, no one
What's your
specifically.
ethnic background, if you don't mind me asking?
So Middle East and Pakistani,
Yeah.
Irish and English.
Okay,
is
so
my
there's a lot
three.
of immigrant work ethic.
Well, yeah, I think that was it because my grandfather grew up in Pakistan and he emigrated over to the UK, and
Pakistani, Irish, and English.
yeah,
That's an
so
interesting mix.
not a bad little skin tone year round, but the downside
So
is.
wait, and who's who? Your mum's?
So my mum's family were all still like Pakistan.
Yeah.
So I've met them a couple of times, but not really
Yeah.
close or anything like
And
that.
your father was the Irish English.
He was the Irish English, yeah. My
Okay.
my grandfather was Pakistani, grandmother's English Irish.
Oh, wow.
So he's like the darkest person you'll see. She's
Okay.
like as pale as a ghost, sort of
But
thing.
she's Pakistani too,
No, my grandmother.
Oh, your grandma. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
so my
sorry.
grandmother's
And your
the Irish
mother's
English.
full Pakistani.
Yeah, full.
Okay, so you're like, okay, got it.
Yeah, a little bit better, but
Can't really tell. You look like Italian or Maltese.
yeah, that's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
But when my beard or my hair grow, I get like really bad little ginger sort of spots from the Irish.
Yeah,
So
I've got.
which
red
is
hair,
embarrassing
so
as
I've got
hell.
ginger in my beard too.
Yeah.
So I'm a redhead. Can you tell?
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's why we get along.
All that fluffy hair that you've got
Aggies.
going on. Yeah.
Okay, so you potentially was from your family then.
I reckon so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that was.
But what about the rugby influence? Like, what was there? Somebody in your family playing rugby? or-
No, it was interesting actually because nobody had ever played rugby in my household. It was me, my brother, and my cousin all lived in the same household, but we started at 7 years old. A kid on the street basically just invited us one day to play for the
by
local.
chance.
Yeah, to just go training. Went okay, so we just went and just trained and stuff and
Got it.
loved it. And that was at 7 and.
I think a lot of people, when they're younger, including myself, aspire to be at a professional level of, sports. It's just a common thing.
Yeah.
Firemen, sportsmen, Olympics is like a goal a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So, what were some of the challenges you had to go through in your growth as a professional athlete that might be of value to the people listening?
Yeah, so I started at 7, but I didn't really get good or what I feel to be good until I was probably about 13. So right up till that time, I was terrible. I was not a good player. I was scared as hell. Like I had this massive fear about me in that sort of game, and I think a lot of that came down to knowing I wasn't as good as everybody else. Like everyone else was just way faster. They'd score lots and lots of tries every single game. I'd be lucky to score one a year, for example, like growing up. And it wasn't until I sort of started high school, and I remember my dad always sort of saying, if you do anything half-heartedly, you'll get hurt. But if you go 100%, you'll be fine. So he said that to me one game, and I went, okay, cool. I'm gonna try this. Let's see what happens. So that game, I just went nuts. Like I was a man possessed. I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit as hard as I can and run as hard as I can, and just sort of see what happens. And it worked. It completely worked. So from then, that confidence starts to instill. You get a little bit more motivated. Start to train a little bit harder. Things theoretically become a little bit easier because you enjoy it a little bit more. So I think in terms of giving people value is commit. Regardless of what you're doing, how however scared you are, you need to just go for it and commit, because I believe at least that fear's not real. Like, it's this barrier that we create ourselves. The only way to conquer fear, I guess, is to take action, because whatever you're fearful of, you take that action and immediately it goes away. You don't ever look back and go, oh, I was scared of that. You know, so I think people, regardless of what profession you're in, whether it is a professional athlete, it's sporting background, business, wherever it might be, just go all in. Because only by going all in, you'll be able to see what you're actually capable of, but then you'll also be able to see that there's nothing there. You know, this fear element doesn't exist. It's a survival mechanism that's 2 million years old. We don't have to run away from a lion anymore, you know?
Yeah, that's so cool. So take action, commit, and go all in. I like that.
Yeah.
It reminds, like what flashed to my mind when you were saying that, is that when I was younger, I used to have a fear of heights and water, because I drowned once at the beach. Not drowned, I nearly drowned at the beach, and heights just scared me. So like jumping off heights into water was like the fucking craziest, scariest shit ever. But you're right. Once I actually took action, like once I jumped off the pier, you know, the first time, consciously, the fear left and I could do it. Because I'd taken action, the fear was no longer there. It was just, you're right, it was like I was sitting back at the far back end of the pier, and then the water's, you know, over there by about 6 meters, and I'm like, this.
Yeah. It's funny you said actually about heights, because I used to have that same fear too. And I remember once, like back in the UK, 2-story house we had as a family home, and I'd climb up to clean the gutter, and I got up there, just freaked out. I wasn't even that young. I think I was like 17, 18. Like I was freaking I was freaking the hell out. And like as like kids do, my cousins and stuff, like just throwing rocks at me, like little rocks and stones and stuff like that. I was freaking the hell out. And I'd had that fear for a long time, and I said to my girlfriend, I was like, I need to get over this. And she's like, okay, well, what are you going to sort of do? I was like, it was my birthday coming up, and I was like, I want to go skydiving. So she went, all right, cool. So she booked me skydiving, and I went and did it. So 14,000 feet, so I jumped here in Australia.
Didn't fuck around.
Yeah, exactly right. I just went, again, just committed, just went for it. And it was the most insane rush in the world. If you've never skydived before, anyone, I highly recommend it. Yeah. But it was in that very split second, that moment, I got over it. Like, not afraid of heights at all anymore.
Yeah. 14,000 feet above.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? It was like, if this is it. But it was the most exhilarating.
I'd probably my pants going to do that.
But
the fear of heights has definitely gone away. And you're right, it was like an invisible barrier in my mind. You know, it's like there's literally some invisible ghost or some shit holding you there and stopping you from moving.
There's nothing. Forward. Like, it doesn't exist.
Isn't that funny? I think being a human is funny in that context where, you know, you have these silly little fears. Yeah. But all you need to do is take action. I think it helps having the right people too. You know, like, did you have any friends that were encouraging you?
No, nobody. It was just me. It was just.
I suppose your professional athleticism may have helped you with that kind of drive, because you've already got that instilled in your character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whereas someone else who's a bit more shy or introverted might find that difficult. You know?
I think you have to challenge yourself as well a lot of the times, because I've not always been, you know, that type of person. Go, okay, let's go skydiving, or let's go do something base jumping or something crazy at all. But I think over the years, like, you challenge yourself. You're looking at personal training, for example, teaching classes. You know, like, teaching classes can be quite daunting to start with, because there's the class that I taught, there was other personal trainers in there, other people that I respected, some peers, people that had been doing classes for a long time. And my challenge to myself was, I'm going to go into this class without planning it. I was like, I'm just going to go in and just go on a wing. I know what the structure is roughly in my head, and I'm just going to sort of go for it, and I'm just going to adapt. I don't know how many people are going to be here today, but I'm just going to go in there and challenge myself. And I think that, done over a long enough period of time, it builds that comfort. So you're like, yeah, all right, I got this. So whatever situation is, like, you know, I'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, good way of putting it. Your comfort.
Yes.
Coming back to skydiving. Have you done skydiving before, Daniel?
No.
You should do it, Daniel.
I dare you to do it.
Phenomenal.
Are you afraid of heights?
Yep.
You are?
Yep.
We should go do it together. We'll shit our pants together.
You heard it live, everybody. John and Daniel.
Should we do it? We'll hold hands while we do it.
No, thanks.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
He'll be handsome. I mean, pretty. I mean, beautiful.
Your beard would flow. In the way, it would be amazing.
And his hair.
Only your hair too.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting topic we're touching on here. So how, apart from committing and doing it, like, what other tips, tricks, advice would you give to people who, because you're right, it does permeate all things. Like, you know, I train teachers here, and I've trained them for over a decade, and there is even a fear just to teach a class. You know, like a girl that I'm working with as a teacher, like, I've been pushing her to teach a class, she's been shy, but now she's finally done it, and she's like, oh, what was I scared of? And it does permeate everything, really, for human beings. So what other tips, tricks, advice would you give to people that you've picked up through your, trainings as a professional athlete, as a trainer, as moving into acting in your field?
Yeah. I think you need to be very sort of definitive about the end goal, like what you're actually moving towards, because otherwise I don't think there's enough of a intrinsic sort of powerful motivator to take that step, whether it is skydiving or whatever, or acting or wherever it might be.
Personal training, professional rugby.
Yeah. So what do you try to get out of it? What's that intrinsic? How do you know that you're there? How do you know that when you're going to be emotionally, physically, spiritually satisfied with it? So I think defining that end goal is extremely, extremely important, because otherwise, how do you know where you're going to start?
I agree with you 100%. And the funny thing is, a lot of people will avoid making the end goal. It's like it takes too much effort or something. Like, I was having a chat with this guy. He really wants to build his brand. He's already got a good business, but no digital presence. Wants to really build his brand, but he's like, I think I want to do this, this, and this. So I suggested, look, you need clarity. You need to know exactly where you want to go with this. So I helped him out, and I defined a few ways that he could actually line that up. And 2 weeks later, he's like, I just need to think about it. I'm not sure again. And I'm like, bro, it just takes sitting down for 1 hour. So on the flip side of that, I agree. Yes, know your end goal, but how can we get people to actually take action on finding their end goal?
So I think it's an interesting one, as we've sort of spoke before upon the years, and whenever we had a conversation, I just want to do this, I want to do that, and you've been like, do this or do that, and whatever the advice is, and I think it's very much. I think it's almost spiritual. Like, it has to come from a very internal place, because even when you've given me the right advice, or whoever's I've given advice to, and you almost know, like, you're not going to do anything. Like, you're not going to do anything about it, even though I've told you exactly what you need to do, because I don't think it matters as much as you think. Like, it might just seem like a good idea. Or it might be just the cool thing. Like right now, entrepreneurship. I want to build a big brand. I want to be a successful business owner. I want lots of money. I want to live this lifestyle, wherever it might sort of be.
You're saying generically humans, or are you saying you?
Generically humans, sorry, I'm talking from a very generic standpoint now, but being able to look at that and go, okay, well, why do I want this? Like, what's the actual reason? Do I want it because I've seen it? Because this person looks like they're living this lavish lifestyle? Is that what I actually want? And I think it's interesting, because unless you really want that, from a very internal place, that you'll never actually go for it anyway. So it almost doesn't matter. It's like, cool, I want to live this lavish lifestyle with the cars and the house and things like that, but I'm not willing to put in the work. It's like, well, maybe that's not what you actually want. Maybe what you actually want is a sense of fulfillment, but maybe that fulfillment doesn't come from that place. Maybe that fulfillment comes from a family. Or maybe that fulfillment comes from a child. Or maybe that fulfillment comes from just living on a beach in Hawaii and just chilling and working at a surf shack. That could be fulfillment for you. So I think that how to define your goal is, you almost got to feel it. Like, what do you actually want? Like, what do you actually want from your life? Take out materialistic things, because as we know, they don't really matter that much. You can't take them to the next life with you. But if you're able to look at a specific goal, like me for acting, for example, I'll tell you my why, like the why I want to sort of be an actor. This might help. So I purely want to be an actor because my life's mission, I guess, is to inspire people to do what they deem is impossible, like they in themselves. And I think by becoming an actor, that I can help people do that because it's something that I really want, is very valuable to me, is very intrinsic to me to be able to succeed at that, because I'm not talented, I'm not good at it, I wasn't born with this ability to be able to act. I'm not a child acting star. I've never done it before. I've never studied about it, never really give a shit about it until I came to Australia, and until I was like 20 or something like that, 21, when I was like, you know what, this is something that I'm interested in.
And it still took a podcast today when you're not too famous.
Oh man, I wouldn't anyway. As friends, you know what I mean?
10 years from now, I'll call you up. You're like, sorry, buddy, I'm too busy.
Sorry. I'll hold you to that. I won't. All right, we got it live.
We got that on camera.
Yeah, exactly. I won't. I don't want to ever be that sort of person. But going back to sort of the why is that me achieving that goal means everything, because it's almost like I needed that, or I felt I needed that from someone. Like when I watch movies, I feel this incredible sense of fulfillment of what this actor's portraying, what this story's being told. Because if we can tell stories, whether it's overcoming anxiety or depression or the feeling of being lost or whatever it might be throughout film, we can inspire, in my opinion, I can inspire people to be able to overcome them in reality. It's like when I'm feeling down or I'm sick or I need inspiration, I watch a movie, and I watch one of my favorite movies, for example, and it makes me almost overcome that feeling of insecurity or wherever it sort of might be. Like, whoa, if that's going to work for me, then how many other people can I tell that story through and share those commonalities through? Because we experience a lot of the things in real life as we do in movies. That's why we relate to the story, and it's storytelling at heart. I want to be a storyteller at heart. It's the oldest form of, I guess, of sharing or conversation, but I want to be able to portray a certain character in order to overcome those barriers, that fear, those emotional, spiritual, physical barriers, wherever it sort of might be. But if I can do it on screen, you know, hundreds, thousands, millions of people are going to see that, and they're ultimately, hopefully, going to be inspired to go do something, regardless of what that is. Whether that's, I'm going to clean up my diet, I'm going to go start training, I'm going to go start a martial art, I'm going to go start this business, whatever it might be, because your fulfillment is going to be very relative to you. But all I need to do is spark that little bit of hope of like, I need to go and do something, because he just motivated me by doing whatever it is on screen, and I'm going to take that into my life, and how can I apply it to my life?
Inspiration at scale.
Yes.
Sounds like,
There we go.
It sounds like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you're already doing. I mean, like, what? Just while we're on that topic, where can people find you? The guys that are listening, like, what's your handle? Where can they find you?
So my handle. So predominantly I use Instagram. So it's just I am Abbey Khan.
Yep. I am Abbey Khan. At I am Abbey Khan.
At I am Abbey Khan. Abbey's Abikhan.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So find him there if you want to follow along, especially if you're interested in, you know, personal training, health, fitness, but also acting as a career. Coming back to it, you're talking about movies. What are your favorite movies? I'm interested.
Oh, so I'm very much into a lot of things, but predominantly fantasy. So I love Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Game of Thrones.
As a way to inspire yourself.
Yes.
So that's a good tip for the people at home if they're feeling demotivated or uncertain of things, to watch an inspiring film. So Harry Potter, what else?
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, The Hobbit, those sort of fantasy movies, like your Marvel movies. But I think aside from all of those, I love those, but Disney is the sort of pinnacle. Yeah. Like Walt Disney is the greatest inspiration in the world for me. Yeah. And again, looking back, that comes from a place of, we spent a lot of time as kids watching Disney movies together. So again, looking back to defining that goal, it makes, it holds a lot of value for me, because I feel back and look back to when we were kids, when everything was just super simple. As a family, we'd sit around the TV and just watch Disney movies. And the most amazing thing in the world. And that means everything to me.
I can see how, because I find it inspiring myself. Like, for example, in '99 when The Matrix came out, that was a deciding factor for me to go deeper into Kung Fu. You know, I'd been doing martial arts, but then Kung Fu.
I've always wondered that.
In '99, The Matrix, I know Kung Fu. You know that scene, and he's doing, and I was just like, fuck.
You look like Morpheus. You've got a very Morpheus look.
Times. Yeah. And I remember after The Matrix, I was running around Chatswood doing fly kicks and going, because I was a boxer at the time, so I was just like, I got really inspired by that to take up a martial art, because you said it. So for you, if you had to pick one today, what would it be? Like an all-time inspiring movie, what would you say?
All-time inspiring?
Like I mean, just for today, on this moment. Like.
Oh, right, like in this... Oh, God, I don't know.
Pressure's on.
I know. I'd say Disney Hercules. That's the first thing.
Disney Hercules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Overcoming adversity, the underdog.
Well, that's brings to mind the hero's journey. Well, I mean, as an actor, you probably know about that, but because, I got friends who are writers, and also Tom works in film, like the creative director of Mowbray. So they talk about the hero's journey, and that very much comes into when you're building a brand as well. What is your hero's journey? You start off in a certain way with certain fears and discouragements, and you go on a journey off into a different place, and you learn skills, and you come back to the same place with a greater skill set, and see what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So I think, that's a very inspiring pathway. And what about, if we take a step back into your personal training, which you've been doing for about a decade, right? Mm-hmm. What are, some of the let's say, best advice that you're giving to people as a client of yours, as a I don't know, your client, you call them, to help them stay motivated. Because I work at a gym as well, you know, a few hours a week, and I think the show rate or the people that actually train is something like 20% of the actual members.
Yeah.
So how do people stay motivated? How do people stay inspired? How do they keep going towards their goals? You know.
Yeah. So I think it's very personal in terms of like it's going to be it depends. Like it's going to be very dependent on the individual.
Yeah.
But going back to defining the goal, like
Yeah.
what's the end goal? But also, as cheesy as it is, but why? Like, why do you actually give a shit about this particular goal? Like, how's that going to change your life? And is it really? You know, if you come in and like, I just want to lose about 3 kilos. Okay, cool. Why? Yeah, I feel a bit healthier. I feel a bit fitter. All right. Most of those people won't get there.
Yeah.
You know, or they'll get there and just go back to where they were anyway, because
it's like a small, uninspiring goal.
Yeah.
With a lack of
giving a shit, really. It's like,
drive behind it.
Yeah.
I understand.
But if they're able to define something, okay, I want to get in the best shape of my life for my wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big part. Okay, cool. Now we can build on something like, why is that important to you?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be surrounded by my family and loved ones. I don't want to feel self-conscious. I don't want to, you know, for example, I don't want to look fat or look skinny or look too bulky or look uncomfortable in my weight. It's the most special day of my life. I want to remember the photos. I want those to be a snapshot or a memory, so I can look back at them and see that forever and show my kids and my grandkids and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So defining the goal is definitely super, super important to even get started.
Yeah. Knowing the goal, knowing the why, and then getting quite specific and clear.
Getting very specific. Exactly how much do you want? You know, is it 5 kilos, 10 kilos, 20 kilos, 50 kilos? What exactly do you need?
1.3 kilos, and I'll be able to.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like because the more definitive you get about it, the almost from a coach standpoint, the easier it is to get you there. Because I know exactly what you want, so we can put in places those exact steps.
Got it. And flipping to acting now, like, because it's been a couple of years you've been studying it and moving into that field. What have been some of the challenges for you in developing yourself through that? Because it's a whole new field. From professional sports to personal training to acting. I mean, it's different, you know?
Yeah.
So what have been your challenges or any stories from that, you know?
So the acting industry is very, very interesting. We spoke up before we started the podcast. Is the fitness and acting industry are both very, very time consuming. So to try and be successful in both of them, for me, like, is almost impossible. I don't like using that word, but it's very, 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 very difficult to be able to do both well at the same time. So with the acting industry, for me personally, I'm not a talented actor at all, from my perspective. So what's been interesting is going into a field where I know nothing about it. I know nothing about the art of acting. I know nothing about techniques or anything in terms of how to, you know, portray a real character, whatever it sort of might be. So being able to go in, that's been really interesting because it's allowed me to get way out of my comfort zone, be able to get put in front of people who are better than me and going, okay, go. And you sort of look around and go, shit, like this is going to be fucked up. But at the same time, you put yourself in a situation where you have to succeed. It's that old sort of terminology of burn your bridges, burn your boats. Do not burn your bridges. Burn your boats.
Burn the boats.
Go to the island, burn your fucking boats, and just go for it.
Yeah.
Because unless you do that, you're always going to be holding back. You'll never really challenge yourself. You'll never really grow.
Yeah. Seems to be a bit of a kind of foundational mindset that you have about, you know, that committing. You know, once you made a decision, I was saying, just go all in. And that does sound like it links back to when your dad was like, when you go in something half-assed, then you get hurt. But if you go all in, you don't, you know. I like that a lot. Go all in. And I suppose you and I are the kind of people that try to do that in all areas of our lives. Like for example, you know, 1 year ago, or just about a year ago, I didn't have any social, but now I have a media company.
That's exactly it.
So I've gone all in.
When you told me that, I was just like, oh, geez, like you've done a lot in this short amount of time.
Well, I mean, having realized that we are now the media as individuals, because we carry a radio, a television in our pocket, and a newspaper in our fucking pocket, and you can use that to communicate with the world what you're trying to convey. Like for you, it's inspiring people. You want to inspire others and live into your potential, obviously, as a trainer and as an actor. And you can actually now communicate that with the world from your pocket. It's crazy as fuck. Yeah. So, yeah, pushing those boundaries and going all in, it seems to be a through line with you. How do we encourage people to do that? Because people sit on the fence, you know. They ponder and daydream, and they have these, you know, they're sitting at their desk in a job they don't like, but they really want to get out there and commit. How do we get them to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, I think, asking yourself, like, is what you're doing right now in your life what you want for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Like, are you genuinely happy?
Yeah.
Because I think happiness is the cornerstone of everything. Like, if you're happy, cool, do your thing. Yeah. Do whatever you want. Like, work an office job, work at McDonald's, work, you know, casually at being a barista, whatever it might be. Are you genuinely happy and content in your life? If you are, keep doing it. But if you want to change, you've got to look at your life and go, okay, well, is this what I see for the rest of my life? Am I going to be fulfilled? And if you're not, then you really need to take a look at yourself and go, well, what am I afraid of? What's the worst that can sort of happen? What's the complete... sitting down, I advise sort of sitting down and almost defining your nightmare. Define the worst possible outcome. What's it going to happen? Yeah. And then, after you've defined that, or wherever it sort of might be, you know, my partner will break up with me, I will end up bankrupt, or I'll lose my job, whatever the nightmare is, whatever you're most afraid of. And then, very simply, write the action steps. If this, then what? If this absolutely happened, if it was a reality, then what are the top 1, 2, 3 things can I do today to get me back on track? Like, what would I actually do if this happened? Because then you've already got an action plan. You've got an escape route. You're like, okay, if this happened, here's exactly what I'd do to get back to where I am. And if you can define that, you're like, well, you've got nothing to fear. Exactly. Because you already know how to get out of it.
Yeah,
theoretically.
I agree. I use that as a coaching tool. Like, then what? It's like you always ask yourself, and then what? Okay, so you try to go and become an actor, and then what? You know, if you fail, and then what? Or then won't have a house, and then what? And then I'll live in the street, and then what? And I'll have to eat from bins, and then what? You know, you just take it to the ridiculous. And usually what you'll find happens when you do that, it ends up coming down to a fear of death. That makes sense? It's funny, all the fears tie down to that.
Just that one
but
thing.
when you can resolve that, like you're saying, and realize, oh, well, I'm going to die anyway, and what's the worst that can happen? I might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, because you're not going to die, literally. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless you do something life-threatening.
If you do, it doesn't matter.
It's gonna happen at some point anyway. Yeah. So I think doing that, like I'm a big fan of defining the nightmare.
Yeah.
Create some actionable steps, getting out of that.
Interesting. I haven't heard it put that way before. Defining the nightmare. No wonder you're a good coach. I can see that. You'll definitely be inspiring your clients.
I hope so.
But take a step back, because you said you might find it impossible to do your personal training business and your acting. I suppose that means when you're training people, and then also having to go and do the acting work and study and apply for things. Yeah. I think you're doing the right thing though. You're documenting it all.
Yes. Yeah. Because
aren't you documenting everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The goal is it's going to happen. It's already going to come to fruition. I already know it's going to happen. It's a matter of time. But yeah, absolutely documenting the journey, so somebody else in my position can at least look at that in the next 5 years and be like, that's how he did it.
So you're documenting everything now, or just your training, just your acting, or the whole shebang?
The whole shebang. Acting is very sort of scarce in what I'm doing, but when I'm doing it, I'm documenting it as much as I possibly can.
Because you're documenting, you're getting exposure, so that's kind of like acting in a way, meaning that people will find you. And they'll know that you want to act. They'll get to know your personality, your character, your strengths, your weaknesses. Yeah. So I think you're going the right way about it.
Okay, good.
In my opinion. My only question is, have you got the scale? This is coming into like brand building in business. Like how much content are you putting out?
So
we've taken a different tactic.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay.
But I mean, a lot of the people that listen are people entrepreneurs, people building their own business as well. Apart from the guys that do kung fu and meditation, which is a bit of an eclectic mix, but that's just the interests I have.
Yeah.
You know, I love kung fu, spirituality, meditation, but I also love running businesses. So everyone.
Combine it. Yeah, your baby. Your child.
Child. So what's your scale like at the moment? How much are you putting out on a day?
So right now, the platforms I guess that I use mainly Instagram. So I'm posting daily on Instagram.
One a day.
One to two sometimes a day, but one a day. There's Instagram stories, which I'll do a lot more of the documenting day to day on. Generally, when I put something on Instagram, it's more of a value like exercise selection, how to perform this, the benefits of this and that.
You put that in your stories.
I'm putting that in my feed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But stories is more day to day. So
and you're on YouTube as well now?
So yeah, I'm on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So doing one
YouTube,
Instagram,
Facebook,
Facebook podcast. So I launched my podcast 2 weeks ago now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Those are the main ones. Those are the main ones because it's just me. I've got a good friend that helps me edit the YouTube videos, but aside from that, I'm creating everything else and trying to build a personal training brand and try to do acting whatever.
Work ethic comes into it again.
Yeah, it's just like there's no choice.
Well, you've taken the right, in my opinion, by documenting what you do, you've saved time. You've got a lot of content because you're just already doing it anyway, which is what we do. You know, like I teach classes or I have meetings and we just film it and then put it out, and that provides value to the marketplace, which then builds brand.
Yeah.
You know, I think it seems like you're doing good there, but if I was in your shoes, I'd scale that to 4 pieces a day as opposed to 1.
Yeah, and that's the I guess.
You've got to remember your audience, right?
Yeah.
Only 30% of your audience actually see your posts.
Yeah, at that specific time.
So if you put 4 out, then you're more likely to hit your whole audience.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
And then you can scale quicker.
And that's the goal, and it's just trying to do that. It's the practicality. Yeah. I know I need to.
Yeah.
But it's the
that's
practicality
where,
of doing that.
If you can leverage technology or people, then you're in a good spot. You know, humans that are believe in you and your vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Coming back to the acting challenges, I think that's an interesting one for people. Like, what is the biggest challenge right now for you as an actor? Because I know you've already succeeded as a professional athlete and as a personal trainer. You know, you're quite good at that. Acting's still green for you in a way, right? So what are you finding the challenges, like the biggest challenges, like today?
Biggest challenge at the moment is time. Is trying to actually get in there to do, because for me, I want to be a great actor. It's not a case of just being on screen or there you go. Well, there you go. That's it. Going all in. But acting is an interesting industry because there's not a lot, if no money in it, which is hard to survive with no money. Until you make
the
it.
rock.
Yeah, until you're the rock. And so as soon as you make it, you're sweet, you're laughing, but it's just getting up to that particular point. Yeah. So right now it's just the time, because the way I'm sort of structuring is the available time that I've got is studying, it's finding coaches that I can get those little nuances and really get into a depth of a character and a believability of a character. So try to find times that I can get in and having the funds as well to be able to go and do that as well. And that ultimately is going to be able to create a believable character and a strong presence in the acting world, so that when I'm able to create show reels, approach agencies and do that sort of stuff, at least they can look at that and go, wow, this guy actually knows what he's doing. You know.
I think that's a common thread, brand builders and entrepreneurs, that time becomes an issue. How are you overcoming that at the moment? How are you, leveraging your time? How are you getting the most out of your time? What are you doing to overcome that challenge?
So right now, for me, it's just building brand. So I'm focused on building personal brand as much as I possibly can. Again, the end goal is acting, and you don't necessarily have to be the best actor to have a great and flourished career, but I want to be very good. I want to win an Oscar, I want to win the Academy Award, because I'm very talented at being an actor. So right now it's point of a heavy focus in building brand, building networks, communicating with as many other actors as I possibly can who are already in this sort of realm and already doing their sort of thing, to try and go, okay, cool, is there any little projects that are going on that I can audition for? Is there any other little projects going on that I can be involved in somewhat? So it's just try to do as much as I can with the minimal time that I've got. Is it perfect? No, but it's something.
Yeah, it's movement, I think. So it sounds like, getting yourself out there as much as possible, and also trying to do the right things to build your brand, so then your time's leveraged.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, man. Perfect. Lastly, we touched on a few things. Because you're quite diverse. I mean, with the fitness and health, and then it's an interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird mixture.
Interesting jump there. But overall, what would you say would be in regards to building brand? Because I know that we're both quite at the beginning of building our own brands. How do you think people should go about building their brand? How would you suggest for them to actually, because that's what you're working on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some tips you could give someone to build brand?
Yeah, I think you have to be just very, very genuine, very you. I think it's very
Authenticity.
Authenticity, because so many people look on social media and try and emulate other people and look at their success and go, oh, I need to be like you to be successful, which is fucking ridiculous. You know, like the people that like them because it is them as a person. Like, you're just going to be a worse version of this other person. Be yourself. Like, if you're looking to build brand for business, like, you're not going to attract the same clientele, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
Lots of people out there.
I think you're right. I think that's a real advantage in building a personal brand, is that no one's you.
Yeah, nobody can be.
Exactly. So no one can copy that.
Yeah. And the people that are going to relate to you are going to be like nobody else.
Yes.
You know?
That's it. And I don't know if you've gotten much of it, but there are a lot of trolls out there as you grow.
Yeah.
Trolls are great. Like,
yeah.
I think if you don't have any trolls, that means you're actually not out there enough.
Yeah, well, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I got tons. It's great.
Yeah, I've got a...
So,
there you go.
just quickly, funny thing is that when people do, put hate on your feed, they don't realize they're actually helping you, because when there are more comments on your post, it pushes you up the algorithm.
Yeah.
So every time someone puts hate stuff on my feed, I'm like, thank you, firstly.
Yeah. I mean, I put a video, it was at the start of the year, basically. It was like a shopping haul video. Like, here's what I'm doing. I'm going shopping. I'm buying all these foods. And I got some really, really good feedback from the people that had watched it, and a lot of DMs on my Instagram about it. Like, thanks for making it really simple.
Yeah.
And like this one woman was just like, all I see is plastic bags being used. I was just like, what? And I was like, back in my video, I was like, because I'd used a couple of plastic bags to put food in.
Yeah.
And that's all she had to say, and that was it. And I just like replied. I was like, cool, I appreciate that. Like, I apologize if I've offended you, but you've just taken that completely out of context, and you've not seen all the good and all the other comments that are just showing love and like positivity and stuff like that of it. You know what I mean? So trolls are always going to be there, trying to bring it. And for anybody watching, like, they just try to bring you down to their level. You know, you don't have to succumb to that. You don't have to accept that. Just keep doing you. You can literally just ignore them, you know, if you want to, or you can just ask them. They're probably having a really shit day, or they're probably not on the same path as you, or they're jealous or self-conscious or whatever it sort of might be. I just generally feel sorry for them.
Yeah, that's it. I agree. You can go either way, because there's two people that use two different sides of the spectrum. I know that Oprah, she just completely ignores them. I heard her say that she just ignores it totally. Doesn't pay any attention.
Doesn't want that negativity.
And then on the other side, you have someone like Gary Vee, who pays a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Like, he'll respond to them to find out what they're thinking,
what they're
communicate with them.
Yeah.
So personally, I play both sides depending on what I feel.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like
depends on what the comments like,
Yeah.
If it's worthy of an actual discussion, or whether it's just straight up hate.
If it's just
some
hate.
people are just inside, they're really not happy, so they're just spewing shit on other people. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I think authenticity, you said before, but then I also think that doing what you think is right, because there's no blueprint to success. Like, there's have to do that.
That also links to the whole fear concept, because you've got to release any fears about putting out stuff, because a lot of the time you can be quite self-conscious, or human beings in general, self-conscious or worried what others are going to think. You know what I mean? So putting it out authentically as yourself is definitely
like in every day, like when I was conversation, I don't think about, fuck, I shouldn't have said that, or you know what I mean? Like, it's
just be yourself.
Because at the end of the day, like, all social media is just capturing our day-to-day life, right? So do you make mistakes? Yeah. Do you say yeah? Like, do you pick your nose sometimes? And when you're in conversation, like, you're gonna do random shit. So don't be afraid of be yourself. Like, if you do that stuff, you curse a little bit, then cool. That's who you are.
Yeah, agreed. An interesting era we're living in now.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's the most, I guess, technologically advanced, or the advanced from an evolutionary standpoint than we've ever been, but it's also the most fearful we've ever been at the same time. But it makes no sense, because what are we afraid of? Like, there's no one putting a gun to our head. There's nobody attacking us. There's not a lion trying to eat us. Like, we're pretty safe.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So those people out there listening now that are looking to build brand, from what you've said, is be yourself. Put out content, let go of fears, commit.
Yeah.
Go all in on it.
Yeah.
That definitely works. Like, you've gone all in, I've gone all in with content, and it's working. I mean, at least we're building some exposure locally.
Yeah, I mean, could it always be better? Yeah. Could it always be faster? Yeah, but
yeah, that's where you keep moving.
yeah, and we had this conversation before. Like, it's the journey, not the destination.
100%.
Like, you just got to have fun doing it. If it doesn't go the way you want to, who gives a shit? Like, you just as long as you enjoy doing it and you're happy doing it. If you're not and you hate everything about it, just don't do it. You don't have to.
That's it, 100%. You know, you're right that the journey. I know it's cliche. It's a bit corny. The journey is the destination, but it's so true. Me and my mate Anton, we have like a saying where it's like, if you just show up, you'll grow. You know, just show up each day, you'll grow. And then the next part is enjoy the stroll to your goal. So every step you enjoy it.
Yeah, nice.
Enjoy the stroll to your goal. Just show up and you'll grow up. Not grow up like
Get older.
yeah, but you'll evolve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, very good. Any final thoughts, tips, hints? Good movies to watch?
Oh, there's a lot of good movies. There's so many good movies to watch. I'd love to know if anyone's got any tips for me for movies to watch.
Any movies that you suggest for Abby and I to watch, please post them in the comments below.
Yeah.
But have you got anything lastly you'd like to communicate with our listeners, viewers?
I think be in this sort of day and age and in this life, just be really true to yourself. Like, regardless of whatever path you're pursuing, just make sure you're very true to yourself, because only through that, I think, then you can be truly happy. Because if you're trying to replicate somebody else and who they are as a person and try to look up to people to give you that permission to succeed, none of that's going to happen. Just be true to yourself and do what makes you happy. Do less of what doesn't make you happy. Do more of what makes you happy, and you'll be all right. You'll be okay.
Beautiful. Brother, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Good man. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just like that, I am back home. So a really, really productive, busy day today. Got up really early, went and did a gym session, hit my steps for the day, did some clients, rushed down to Sydney, shot the podcast, which you just saw. I hope you enjoyed that podcast and the me being a guest on there, which is pretty cool. Guys, I'm always looking for collaboration. So if you do have a podcast or you want to collaborate on any platform, please let me know. Reach out. I'd love to be able to discuss ideas and how we can bring as many people value as we possibly can. So John's links are all below if you want to go and check him out. He runs a media company and also a Kung Fu Wing Chun school as well in Chatswood. So if you are in Crow's Nest, so near Chatswood. So if you're around that area in the North Shore of Sydney, definitely go check him out. Guys, if you've not already, please hit that like button, subscribe, and have a great day.